Yeah, I think I got it working, and it's at the right angle. Oy. You okay?
It's
Well, if y'all could subscribe to our channels, we have our Captain Kira Official, Core Companions, and Casual Kira. And if you could donate whatever you could for us, because one of our kittens inexplicably injured her leg. It's like a partial fracture, and it's kind of expensive to do this shit. Go to doctors and whatnot. It'd be really cool. But we were going to talk about our... What are you doing?
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Do we need to stop?
No.
I mean, you knew this was happening like all day.
I didn't actually, but okay.
Yeah, I've been talking about it for like a few days. We need to stop?
No.
Okay. Well, do you want to start us off?
I don't know where to begin.
It was last Saturday.
Was it?
I believe so, yeah.
Went to McDonald's. Food wasn't so great.
Yeah, you gotta, describe things. Like, we went to McDonald's, spent about like $30-something on a meal for both of us. I know it sounds like a lot, but anyway, I got like a number one Big Mac and the chicken nuggets and what's the one you get? Or do you get anything? You just eat the double cheeseburgers and anyway.
No, mine's the McNugget meal because then I get fries and
drink,
you
blah,
eat
blah, blah.
the...
All right. So the large fries that we got was like barely like half full, and they were soggy as hell. The Big Mac that I got, it was like the patty was like burnt on one side, and there was like almost no sauce. And you kind of need sauce with that. That's like the thing with it. Double cheeseburgers were mediocre at best. I didn't even close it. Whatever.
No, she just was...
The chicken nuggets we got were pretty much overdone to where we couldn't eat them. They looked horrible. What else did they like overdo?
The McGriddles were pretty
yeah,
overdone.
they were overdone too. Yeah, that's right. Because that's more your thing than my thing.
Well, you can still tell.
I mean, McDonald's fries are like a huge thing to go there for, and they were a huge disappointment. And the meal made us super sick. Anyway, had to throw half it away, and what we did eat, it made us sick, and probably forgot like a good couple days at least. We're finally recovered from it and everything. Anyway, like that night while I was eating it, I was seriously pissed. So I went to their little contact them on their website, and I still have my receipt and everything. I held on to that for like a whole week. I ended up sending a nice, very polite message about, this is that, and here's the problem here. I mean, basically exactly what I just described about the food. I just didn't go into great, minute detail about it. So they're like, yeah, we'll send it to the store manager of that location. So I ended up talking to her eventually, because we kept missing each other. Because I don't pick up like random phone numbers. But I eventually figured out that was who was calling me. If you call like more than once, you're usually trying to get in contact with somebody, right? So what happened was, the next day after that, I called him a few times to see if I could get a hold of him. I got a hold of her, and she's super nice and everything, The air conditioner is cold.
You're the one who turned it down.
Blah, blah, blah.
I'm sure.
I actually haven't touched it.
I haven't touched it.
So she's like, yeah, we'll talk to who was working that night, and eventually we got to the subject where, yeah, we'll replace your meal for you and everything. And I was like, okay, cool. So I could do that for our meal tonight. So I get there, and I talked to the person who's working the MOD or whatever, because they claimed they didn't have an MOD, but apparently they do. She just wasn't there. Not the one I talked to. She does mornings. And she got the message that only one of the meals on the actual ticket was going to be replaced, not like the whole ticket like it had been discussed, like our whole meal, just one, like my number one or whatever. And I was like, no, that's not what we discussed. So eventually, after arguing with her for a while, that was the situation, was they were only going to replace one, like my number one or whatever. So I was like, okay, fuck this place, so I'm going to contact customer service again, and you'll be hearing back from me. And we get all the way home, and I was in the middle of trying to get into their contacts, but my the internet wasn't working because I was outside, and the Wi-Fi like barely kicks in, but it doesn't let it work.
Right.
It's like if you're at that certain range, it tries to use the Wi-Fi, and it doesn't realize that I'm too far away from it. It keeps trying to use it so it wouldn't load. Anyway, I get a phone call from the store manager. She's off the clock, the one I talked to, and she's like, "Hey, are you still there?" And I'm like, "No, I'm home." And she's like, "Oh." So she ended up talking to the current MOD that was over there and relayed the miscommunication so I could get my whole meal replaced. So I had her like personal contact information. So I was like, okay, if you relay this information right now again, we'll be all good. So I got it back over there. I kind of secretly did this when Kara went inside, because I told her to go inside while I did my rant.
Order the pizza.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was close.
Well, you said you were gonna do it after we showered, so I had it pretty much guaranteed that you weren't gonna do it until I went back inside.
Yeah, no, I was contemplating, because I was like, if I order it and then we're showering and the doorbell rings like every single freaking time, so I just do it afterward now.
So I went back over there and I called her and I was like, for my time and effort and all this driving, would it be too much to ask for like a couple of McFlurries for us? She was like, yeah, sure, that's cool. I was like, okay, thank God, because I was about to ask for way more than that in my new email. That was just poor communication and customer service at that point. We get there and I was like, okay, I'm calling the person that I talked to on our personal phone, which I felt horrible doing, but to get this done is you got to do it. So it's like, yeah, can you actually confirm all this that we've been discussing to your staff if I hand you the phone? She's like, yeah. So I get the person I handed it to. I was like, oh, I forget her name. I think it was Raina. Yeah, that was the manager. So I handed her the phone. I was like, hey, I have Raina on the phone. She's like, the manager? I was like, yep. She was like, okay. And she was trying to hand it to the manager on duty. And they're like, what the fuck? I was like, yeah, I'm taking this shit seriously. I am not fucking around. And we finally got it replaced. I put it back in the car. I probably had to wait like 10-15 minutes for them to make the food, which was cool, whatever. At least I finally got our whole meal replaced. It was way, way, way better than it was before. They majorly fucked it up. They did not give any shits that night. The fries were cooked more or less properly. The burgers were made properly. My Big Mac was actually a Big Mac instead of this burnt, dry piece of crap. And yeah, that was our day.
made more aggravating by the fact that we were out in the damn sun and heat for like an hour and a half for the fucking Lugia.
Oh, that was unrelated. But I got a Lugia out of it.
Yeah, I know. Just
Playing
happened to see
Pokemon
it.
Go.
I just happened to see it.
Just happened to be coincidental.
Yeah.
So it was like nighttime. It was like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, somewhere around there.
It's at least 9.
And I drove the car around. Kara didn't know that I'd gone anywhere. She still thought I was outside, like trying to make the email because I was gonna like do the whole like the phone. I talk into the phone and then it writes it down for me because it's way easier. I didn't want to type it. I hate reading and spell checking myself. So I parked like exact the right time because I called her like while I was driving down the road. I was like, "Come outside. Don't worry about it. Just come outside."
No, you said you needed help.
Yeah, I did need help, like to bring it in, but you didn't know that. I was like, "Well, they sent me something in an email, and here you go. It's drinks." You were like, "What the fuck? What did you think when I did that?"
Well, what freaked me out was you had the damn lights on the car, and I thought you were sitting out there the whole time with just the lights on and the car not running, and I thought you were gonna kill my battery. So that's what I initially thought. So I was like, you weren't sitting out here with the damn lights on the whole time, were you? And then you had the drinks. Or I thought you needed me to compose something for you like you usually do.
Well, that was our night. We finally ate all the McDonald's.
We just did it.
Yeah. Awesomely. Because they got to get their shit together. Because they're a big corporation.
Yeah. It happens.
Yeah. I'm just glad I don't work that kind of field. It's just got to be a shitty job. You're greasy and hot all day, every day. Fuck that. They don't get paid enough to do that job.
No, they don't.
No. Well, I'm done with what I wanted to rant about. Unless you wanted to add anything last minute, like you do. No. All right, then I shall end the video. Bling.